As a lot of incredibly successful people stated, one of the most important traits somebody needs to achieve success, whether that would be being the best student in your class or building a successful business or achieving all your ambitious goals, is basically being able to be extremely focused. But in this day and age, where we are constantly bombarded with notifications and endless instant gratification sources, being able to be extremely focused is probably something that only 1% of the population can actually do. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how you can be in that 1%. But first of all, let me tell you how developing an extreme focus actually changed my personal life. Number one, it helped me to balance great grades at school while building a successful YouTube channel that impacts people, exactly you, while having time for reading, exercising, meditating, learning English and German, proper sleep, and personal development, and of course, so much more. And number two, it helped me to do all those things while still having time for fun with friends and family. So if you want to be able to do all those things while having still time for friends and family, the most important trait that you should be essentially developing is having an extreme focus. And the way for you to do that is basically watching this video all the way through and taking massive action. But first, there's something really fundamental that we have to understand, which is the focus equation. And if you do not understand this focus equation and how it works, you are never gonna be able to be extremely focused and develop that skill. So let me tell you what that is. The focus equation is actually something that Kaan talks about in his book Deep Work, which is incredibly important if you want to learn how to focus. Focus equation is basically this: the quality of your work equals to time you spent working times intensity of your focus. Which means if you are a student, this can be your grade in a test equals to how much you studied multiplied by how focused you were while studying. And let's say there's a presentation that you have to make, then your performance in that presentation equals to how much you worked on your presentation times how focused you were. Normally you would be like, yeah, well, that is normal, but let me tell you why this is actually something really amazing. Let's say there's a student who worked 10 hours for a test, but he was not focused during those hours. He was checking social media, he was texting his friends, he was daydreaming, and he used 20% of his focusing ability. And I know for a fact that if you are someone who watches my videos regularly, then you are definitely not gonna do that. Let's say you are able to use 50% of your focusing abilities, so you didn't check social media, you didn't go on Instagram, you didn't do anything except studying and focusing, which means when you look from the equation, you are gonna be able to get the same result while just working 4 hours. And this is something incredible. Just think about it. You can do the same, get the same essentially grade by working 6 hours less. And that is exactly how I am able to balance all these things that I'm talking about, because I can focus really well, and then when I get to my flow state, when I get to my extreme focus, I get things done much quicker. Now, I feel like I convinced you that building the skill of focus is something really crucial, and being able to focus extremely is just really important. But I'm not gonna leave you by saying, for example, yeah, just focus better. 5 strategies that you can use that will increase your focus drastically. And yeah, trust me, you're gonna wanna take your notes. And of course, the first thing that we have to talk about when it comes to focus is basically deep work. You guys know what deep work is. It's basically a completely uninterrupted work where you're gonna be focusing with your 100% focusing abilities, generally in the morning, so that you're not gonna get distracted. And in this deep work sessions, you're gonna be doing the hardest tasks that you have, your MITs, your most important tasks, and you can start with 40 minutes of deep work, for example, and you can work your way up all the way to 2 hours every single day, adding a couple of more minutes, because that's how you're gonna gradually improve that time. No phone, no distractions, because you're not gonna get any notifications first thing in the morning, and nobody's gonna be awake, so nobody's gonna disturb you as well. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna focus on one task and one task only, and get that done as fast and as good as possible. That's how you should do it. And one pro tip right here, which is if you can do this constantly every single day, not constantly, consistently every single day, then your body is gonna adapt, and when you wake up, your body's already gonna feel like it's gonna get to that focused state. Why? Because that's a habit. That's what you do essentially on a daily basis. And another pro tip is basically using focus triggers. And what do I mean by that? That may be a special clothing that you wear, or a place that you do that deep work. For me, it's this desk right here. I do my deep works right here, and the reason why is only thing I do on this desk is basically just studying. That's why when I sit here, my mind always gets to the mode of studying, because that's the only thing that I do essentially right here. And this is a pro tip that you can also use. The second thing you can do if you want to increase your focus is basically using different apps that are gonna help you improve your focus. And there are two apps that I want to talk about in this part of this video, which are Endel and Forest. So you are probably familiar with Forest. The Forest is an app basically that allows you to build a tree while you are studying or getting something productive done. And if you get out of Forest, the app, if you try to go on YouTube or Instagram, the tree that you have been building is gonna die, so it keeps you kind of motivated to do different things and study essentially more. And the actually app that I want to talk about is basically Endel, which is an app that gives you different kind of sounds or more like vibrations that essentially help you keep yourself focused and in the zone while you are doing your study sessions or working on something really important. So for example, if you are doing some studying, then they have a sound that is specifically designed for studying that increases your focus. If you are reading a book, they have another sound, and if you are doing all those different tasks, then they have different sounds that you can use, and you don't really hear them while you are studying. They're just more like background sounds, but they helped you tremendously while you are getting your work done. I don't use them every single day, but when I use it, it really helps me with my focus because it's just pretty good. So you can use these two apps and they will help you dramatically when you are trying to focus. Third thing that you have to do is basically remove all the distractions. Removing the distractions is a key when it comes to extreme focus, and probably the most important distraction that you have to avoid is, yes, your phone right here. And the reason why is because we get all these notifications, we have all these instant gratification social media sources and stuff, and that is absolutely bad for your focus. So firstly, turn off all your notifications, including your messages, including everything that comes from social media, so that you don't get distracted. And second thing is, delete social media apps from your phone, so it's gonna be much harder for you to reach that instant gratification source. And three, probably the most important one, do not have your phone in the same room as that you do essentially your studying. If I'm studying right here, my phone is gonna be in the living room or in the kitchen or wherever it is, but it's not gonna be in this room. And you can also use noise cancelling headphones, which I currently don't have right here, but you can use those so that you're not gonna get distracted as well. And for example, if you're studying at home, tell your family that you're gonna be focused for the next 2 hours so they don't disturb you, or just do your studying, for example, in a library or another place that you can essentially be quiet and do your work. And my fourth tip is going to be basically organizing your environment, because a tidy room and an organized study space is going to be incredibly important for your focus. As you just saw my room, I do not actually have a computer at my desk. You might be watching those productivity setup videos, they all have computers at their desks, but I do not. Why? Because I like to keep myself focused without any computers, any phones, or anything like that on the task. And my room is basically always tidy, and that's something that I really focus on. Why? Because if I'm gonna do, for example, studying on a certain lesson, then everything that I need is gonna be on my desk, and nothing else is gonna be basically on my desk. I'm just gonna have those things. And for example, if I'm gonna be doing something else like playing the guitar or something, then I'm just gonna have the things that I need while at the time that I need, so that I just have to focus on what I have to do. Another important thing is basically focusing on just one thing and one thing only. For example, the only thing that I'm focusing on at this second is just shooting a valuable video about focus for you guys, nothing else, because I can just focus on that and it's gonna create the best results possible. And the fifth thing that you need in order for you to have an extreme focus is basically designing your day in a way that actually maximizes your focus and productivity. And what do I mean by that? For example, you have a task that you have to do that requires a lot of brain power, that requires a lot of thinking, so you can't do that task right before you go to bed because you don't have enough mental and physical energy for you to do that task. That's why if you want to focus on something really well, do that in the morning before you go to school, before you go to your job, before you get started with your day, and wake up early. Why? Because you're gonna have the best focus possible. That's why I do my deep work sessions 1.5 hours every single morning without getting interrupted for 1 second, because it's incredibly important to focus, and at the same time that's one of the best places where I can do the best work that I can. And design your day in a way where you're gonna start with the hard hard tasks and then move your way up to easier tasks. If you need more motivation to do stuff and be successful, then just watch this or this video next, whichever you want, and I'll see you there.